Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. Thank you for joining us on episode 218 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom. I'm here with Trevor. Damon might show up at some point. Who knows? But yeah. So
first of all,
yeah.
How are you feeling, Tom?
Yeah. So
everyone's wondering. Yeah.
Let's start off with what happened last week.
Yeah.
Right. So those of you that don't, obviously we didn't have an episode last week, and I know not everybody follows us on social media. So maybe not everybody saw that we were going to take a week off, right? So the reason why we took a week, because listen, we're full disclosure around here. Like I don't have anything to hide from anybody here. So and I'll share what really happened. Essentially, first of all, we had very difficult schedules last week, but the bigger problem was that I was sick. So
yes.
I was very sick. I had come down with pneumonia. I couldn't talk really. Without coughing. And so, which is a problem when you're doing a podcast.
Yeah.
So, we just had made the decision to take the week off. And I saw a lot of people commenting like, well, why don't you guys have like a B team that's like ready to do the show? But like, even if we would have had somebody else record the show for us, like I still would have had to produce the show and I was in no shape to do that. So, so that's why we didn't have an episode last week. And I know we usually I'll usually record a little 1 minute, like, hey, we're not here this week, but we'll be back next week. Didn't even have the ability to do that. So I apologize to anybody that like tried to tune in last week and all of a sudden was like, wait, why is there no episode 218 that's supposed to be showing up on my normal Monday morning? Which was probably especially confusing if you don't follow us on social media.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I guess I assume that everyone listening is on our Facebook page and whatnot, which you're right, they're not.
I certainly didn't plan that to happen. So
no, yeah, like Tom said, it kind of worked out like first of all, yeah, Tom being sick, and then when we started talking about it, it was like I had things going on, Damon had things going on, and none of our schedules lined up. Unfortunately, like, we couldn't find a common place where we could get together. So yeah, we kind of agreed on this a long time ago that, if it ever hit a point where, all of us were busy, it's just all of us were busy and we can't do the episode at that time. But, that
almost never happens, right? Like we usually are able to accommodate it. Like we're usually able to do like a Friday night or Saturday night or something like that. It just got to a point where there was no way I was going to be able to do the show. And then, there was, you guys were, if like Damon's missing or Trevor's missing, we can do the show with two people, right? Like that's fine. But if both of you are missing or if I'm missing and one of you's like, we can't do it. Right. So yeah, it just kind of turned out that way.
And I guess to the point of the B team, it's not fair to, tell somebody, hey, be on call basically, or, be ready to go whenever we're not available. Like,
oh, yeah.
I mean, I know some people, say, they would jump on in a second and we absolutely appreciate that. But I would not want to put someone in a position where it's like, hey, we can't do this, pick up the ball and run with it. Right.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, look, there's a lot of work that not everybody actually sees that goes into the show. Right. Like there's prep work that happens, obviously. And if you're on our Patreon, you can see the rundowns that get put together. It's, usually 4 to 6 pages of information. So it's not like it's something that just can get thrown together, at a moment's notice. And it can definitely take some time. So that's kind of what happened last week for those that were wondering. I know it probably was weird and confusing, but really this rarely happens. And, Trevor mentioned, and I didn't even think about it, the fact that we've been doing the show now for 6 years.
Yeah.
How is it possible that it's even that long? I don't know. But it's been 6 years this month. And I guess we kind of missed I don't know what the actual anniversary date is, but
I always felt like it was like the first week of April was kind of when we started.
The first week, right? Yeah.
So
it's been that long.
Yeah, we're just past 6 years, which is it doesn't feel like 6 years, and it's definitely a good thing. I think like it's for something like this, if it doesn't feel like it's, or if you feel like you haven't had enough time to do it, that means it's good, right? Like, yeah,
exactly. You feel like there's still more to be done. It's like I'm just shocked it's been that long. It just doesn't feel like it has been. So it's kind of crazy. So anyway. All right. I don't know if Damon, are you here now, or can you talk to us now, or are you?
I mean, I'm here, but I'm getting settled in. I'm getting
settled. All right. Well, just wanted to say hi. All right. So we actually have listener questions this week, and listen, because we skipped a week, obviously a lot of the things we're going to talk about on the show are going to be a week stale, right? Like that's how it's going to be. But the good news is, we used to do a show every 2 weeks, so we used to kind of always do
the good old days.
Good old days. We used to do every other week. Yeah, but yeah, no. Now some of this information is going to be like week old, but that's okay. So
it's still worth talking about, I think.
Yeah, of course.
I think we need to talk about this new Disney trading game. I feel like.
Oh yeah, you want to talk about that? We can put that on the list.
I want to talk about that.
The card game, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, Disney's usually late with things like this, right? So it makes sense that they're kind of late, but is it going to be a big deal? I can't figure that out yet. So what's the name of this thing again? I kind of forget. D23 had an article on it.
Yeah.
Is this Disney Lorcana?
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. So I just don't know, like, what that means. So it's going to be coming in September. It's a trading card game, right? So, I mean, I guess we're thinking like Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, something like that. I mean, some of the artwork's pretty cool.
It does feel like it's getting a lot of hype.
Yeah, but I'm getting Magic the Gathering vibes for sure.
Yeah, the only thing I feel like, is it too late? Or is it perfect because people want something new? I don't know the answer to that. But the other thing I wonder is, and again, I'm not a card player, but I think that I'm going to jump into this, right? Because it is Disney, just to kind of give it a spin. Is that they're going to be like special cards, right? So that's the thing I don't understand. Maybe Trevor has a little bit more insight. Like, so in Magic the Gathering, are there like special cards that like people hold on to because they're a big deal and you can't get them anymore, but they can make awesome decks and stuff like that?
Oh, yes. I mean, okay.
So I get that. Okay. I mean, listen, I didn't need a full deep dive, but right.
Let's sideline that for a minute, because I have a couple of decks of Magic the Gathering cards. And yes, there is a whole thing around
so there's
card
cards
rarity
you can't get anymore, right?
Yeah, yes. Oh, yes.
So what will Disney do? This is the question that I have around this. Will this be something that sits in the same realm where we're going to have cards that are going to be rare like that, or is that not going to be the case? That's what I'm curious about.
According to what I'm reading here, it says they're going to follow a similar release schedule to Magic and Pokemon, in that it will have 4 expansion sets each year.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, that's where the rarity comes in, is that it's each set has its own cards in it. And you may get lucky enough to get the rarer cards in the set, but if you don't, then so like the earlier cards in Magic the Gathering, the ones that are really rare now, at the time people were just playing with them. They didn't know necessarily, although it was kind of clear certain ones were definitely overpowered in the sense of the game, and even like in tournament play, certain ones are not allowed anymore because they are too powerful. But then those eventually evolved into what you're talking about, is the rare, expensive cards, right?
So I'm looking at kind of this list here, right? And I'm thinking to myself, all right, so we have the first chapter, right? So they're going to make chapters as kind of their thing in terms of, right, releasing different chapters. Okay, cool, I get that, right? They're going to have booster packs. All right, cool, I get that. But then they have this Illumineers Trove, right? It's going to have, huge box, 2 deck boxes, 8 booster packs, a player guide. But it's possible that even with this Illumineers Trove, that I'm not going to have all the cards.
Definitely not. Because if there's booster packs, there's no way that they'll give you, even the starter decks won't have the really good cards. The really good cards will be in the booster packs from a gameplay standpoint. But then there's also the whole, like, if they do foil cards, or
they're going to have
Chinese. Yeah. So shiny, like, yeah, collectibleness versus playability, there's going to be some interesting crossover there.
I'm trying to figure out like what I'm going to do, right? Like, so I think I want to try this. I think I want to try it with my daughter. I think that we may end up YouTubing some of it maybe, right? Because I think it'll be kind of cool. But I think I'm going to have to buy one of these Illuminator troves and just stack it and then buy another one and play with it. I feel like, I don't know. I just don't know. Right. So that's kind of the thing. So you had Skylanders and then you had, what was Disney's again? Their ripoff?
Disney Infinity.
Yeah. So you had Disney Infinity, right? So which one was really more popular? Well, I mean, Skylanders was, right? It wasn't even close. I mean, Disney Infinity was cool, but Skylanders was way more popular. I'm still in my head debating the popularity of this versus other things, because what you're saying here is, right, when you go into something like Magic the Gathering or Pokemon, you are, this is going to be kind of tough to finagle, but I feel like the Disney part of this is good and bad, right? Because if you're not a Disney person, you could still be a Pokemon person. You could still be a Magic the Gathering person, right? If you're not a D&D person, I feel like you can be a Magic the Gathering person, right? I don't think those are two paths that have to, coincide. I don't think they have to be part of the same Venn diagram, right? But I feel like with this, are you playing this if you're not a Disney person? I just don't think so. And this is where I worry.
No.
I mean,
I could see it.
I would put it this way, because this is the same thing with Pokemon, is that, there's kind of two camps of people, is that there's the collectors and there's the players, because I know a lot of people that, and same thing with Magic the Gathering, is that I met people that were more interested in collecting and going after rare cards or unique cards, not necessarily rare, but, something different or something that, only had, a limited run or a misprint even. And then there's people that care about the game functionally and care about like actually playing the game and how the cards relate to that. So
sure. But don't you think that that's like, so if you're enjoying playing the game, right, you're not already part of a subset of Disney. You kind of get what I'm getting at. Like, I wonder, listen, I don't perceive to know what the answer is, but I just wonder if that's going to be it. Like Skylanders was this thing where it's like, all right, cool, Skylanders, it's its own new thing. I don't have to be a Disney person to be part of Skylanders, right? But once Infinity came out, I kind of felt like, and I didn't do anything with Infinity. Like, we played Skylanders, and I was a Disney person, but I was kind of like, well, it's
you know what the problem with
Skylanders
was?
Well,
so we did play Disney Infinity, and the biggest problem with Disney Infinity was that the gameplay experience was very watered down, and you could see where they wanted to, Skylanders definitely did things a lot better. And that's why it was so popular, is that it wasn't just a matter of, collecting these different figurines. It was, hey, these actually had impact in the game. And I think that's where the card game, that's where that's going to matter, is that,
well, that's what
it doesn't
I asked
matter
the
so
same
much
question, right?
Yeah.
Are you killing somebody? Or are you get kind of what I'm saying, right? Are you destroying something? Are you killing something? Are those going to be things that Disney stays away from?
Well, I think what you're getting towards here is, what the gameplay loop actually looks like.
Yes.
Because if it's a bad gameplay loop, you end up with a bunch of cards that you're never going to use. I actually fell prey to this because, since I used to play Magic the Gathering, I found a card game that used Street Fighter characters, because I also liked playing Street Fighter, and I was excited about that. But then when I actually sat down with it, it wasn't good. Like, it was like, yeah, here's a bunch of cards with Street Fighter characters, but the game itself was very boring. And so I ended up wasting my money on that. And I think that's kind of where you're getting with this too, right?
Sure. So there's part of it. And then the second part of this, so Ravensburger is well known for putting out great games. So I'm happy about that, right?
Yeah.
But what you kind of have here is that, like you have, I'm going to go to D&D for a second. You have D&D and you have Pathfinder, right? So Pathfinder's, listen, I love Pathfinder. I love their books, right? Dealt with them for a long time. Super great people. But it's really just a D&D ripoff at the end of the day. And that's okay, because that was, kind of call it homebrew, for lack of a better term. And I don't want to get into the specifics of that specific, especially since we're in this era of problems with D&D. Let's just table that. But I'm wondering, is this just going to be a homebrew of Magic the Gathering, right? Like, is it going to be such a distinct gameplay? Or are they just going to stick with something that they already know works? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where I wonder. It's going to be interesting, but I'm involved, right? I'm kind of excited. I think it will be pretty good art. I think that it will be kind of fun.
The art's definitely cool looking. The art is cool.
I like the fact that they've said they're going to kind of reimagine characters to make them fit, right? So maybe a non-magic character will all of a sudden have magic. That's okay. I like that. I don't know, man. I'm on board, but I just don't know if I see it making any dent into what we see with Magic the Gathering. But we'll see.
Yeah, it's interesting. The article I'm reading here just mentions that the cards are already fetching wild auction prices despite not even being released.
Ugh.
Like,
come on.
I know.
Well, I wonder where we're going to be able to get this. So you're talking
local
about
game stores getting a first crack at the product. So it will launch in friendly local game stores on August 18th.
But again, and then the first chapter releases September 2023. So what does that mean, right? What are we going to get? How is this going to end up being released?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question.
I don't know. I'm excited. I'm making some calls on Monday. It's funny. When I saw this, I was like, ooh, I kind of want to be involved in this. And there is a page that tells you how to play. I have not gotten there yet. I definitely will. And there's a way to download quick rules and things like that. I mean, I'm definitely going to do that. But I'm going to be involved in this, I think. I'm going to try it out. I'm going to give it a whirl. See where we end up.
Yeah. Here's the interesting thing with it is that, like Magic the Gathering, I enjoy playing these kinds of games like you. I want to sit down and try this, but a physical card game is a lot harder for me for a sell right now because a lot of the people that I would play it with are not anywhere near me. So
makes it a little harder. Yeah.
Well, I wonder if there'll be an app of this then too.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm wondering because they've done that with Magic the Gathering where there's now you can play it online and you can build your decks and all that kind of stuff, which is great because it fills exactly that niche. And, I'm hoping, if something like this gets enough traction that they could potentially, like you said, maybe there is an app coming. Maybe they already have that in the hopper, but, I'll be keeping an eye on it too. I just, I don't know. My only problem is I'm not going to go buy a bunch of cards because, like I said, I'm going to just end up sitting with a bunch of cards and not being able to play the game.
Yeah. It seems like this kind of thing is quite a commitment, like money wise. You know what I mean? Like you have to keep buying stuff, right?
it can and it can't be, right? Like it depends on how much you want to customize your deck, because you can also just play with, the starter decks are usually functional enough and you can usually get creative with them. But if you really want to fine tune a deck, or if you really want to go after a particular type of deck, that's where it gets expensive.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I do think it's interesting, by the way, that it seems like they're only focusing on not classic Disney characters, but they're not going down the, like, really the Pixar well as much, or Star Wars or Marvel.
But I mean, I think that's what the expansion packs are for, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but they haven't said that they're going to do those. I bet you're right. They probably will go that route at some point, right?
Well, then the question is, will they do Marvel characters?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
No, you're asking the wrong question, Damon. Will they do Disney afternoon characters is the better question.
Nah, I mean, I think they will do that. I was, first of all, there's gummy bears. I better have them all, right? I better have every single one of those cards. I'm just wondering if they'll even go into Marvel and Star Wars, or will they have their own games? That's what I guess the question
is.
Right.
Yeah.
I was thinking more, will we see Doug or Pepper Ann or something?
Pepper Ann.
Wow. Okay. I mean, I also noticed that you're not seeing you're not seeing any Chip and Dale going on this. You're not seeing DuckTales or really we've only seen Mickey and Elsa and those kinds of characters.
Well, that's what makes it interesting. So as we're sitting here, I'm digging through my old emails from when we used to go to Toy Fair. Gosh, I have a contact from 2019. I am definitely going to be sending a message on Monday, but I just feel like that might be too long ago to have a contact.
You never know.
Never know.
Surprised.
I wonder who owns Ravensburger. That's the thing. I think they're owned by somebody else. So.
Yeah, I mean, but they've got a really good track record for games. I mean, from what I've read, they haven't done a card trading game before, but I mean, the other games they've done have been pretty good. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, okay. So this is what's interesting. So I have a contact over at ThinkFun. ThinkFun is a subsidiary of Ravensburger.
Well, there you go.
All right, we're making emails again from somebody from 2019 that probably doesn't even work there anymore.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah. Well, I'll be looking at LinkedIn while we're talking. So let's move on.
Let's get on to the list of questions, and then we can come back to this later.
Yeah. So Joe wants to know: will you guys go to Disneyland once the new DVC tower opens? I mean, like, I don't think it's like the DVC a DVC resort being there that's stopping me from going to Disneyland. It's more just it's a long trip across the country, and I do need to plan that out and have the time to do it. But it'll be nice to have another option for staying when I do go to Disneyland. Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm. And I don't think Trevor needed the tower to go. I mean,
no, I mean, yeah, the thing is will I go to Disneyland? The first part of that, yes, I will absolutely go back to Disneyland. Whether or not it hinges on the DVC tower, I mean, we'll get more into that in a bit here. Because the DVC tower definitely, it added some complications as a DVC owner. Would I still stay there? Yeah, I would. I would still plan to stay there, regardless of whether or not I actually have points there, I guess is the best way to say it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
Sarah wants to know, I sometimes think about specific places in the parks affectionately. What is one place in any park or resort that you think, man, I wish I was there? Example, yesterday, I wish I was walking from the Skyliner to Riviera for breakfast.
Mm.
It's a good question, because I often think to myself, man, I could use a ride around the People Mover right now. You know what I mean? Like, just like, I don't know. It's this weird thing about the People Mover that just kind of like clears my head. You know what I mean? It's like a small amount of peace in a busy place. And I also feel that way about the monorail too, though. Like, it's weird that it's almost like transportation related always with me in my head. But yeah, I don't know. Those are kind of just like a few of the places that I always think about.
Yeah, for me, it's I get that with the People Mover.
Yeah.
The two places that I find myself thinking about the most are the walkway in the Polynesian, the walkway along the beach. That it's right in front of the like Morea and whatnot, and like that's always. I always think about, walking there at night, because it's kind of like you. It's one of those like really quiet places, because there's usually not a lot of people going back and forth, and you can, really just kind of, look out over the lake and, see everything off in the distance, and that's great. So I like that. The other place that I love to be, but I also know it's crazy busy, is like that space in between the Tiki Room and Pirates of the Caribbean in Adventureland.
Okay.
And it's mainly because of like, there's definitely like the music and the atmosphere and everything just gets to me. Like, just that being in Adventureland, I just love it. So yeah, I think it's kind of between those two places that I jump back and forth.
Interesting. That's interesting. Yeah. I also probably should include the Skyliner in there too. I think to myself how nice it would be to go for like a quick Skyliner ride. Just a nice relaxing Skyliner ride. Damon, I know you're busy looking at things, but
I am. So wait, a spot that I wish I was at in the park,
or in a resort,
man. I don't know. I like Epcot.
Yeah.
I mean, where do I wish I was in Epcot? That's a tough call. Like, because it's got to be somewhere that's not super packed all the time for me, right?
A little quieter. Yeah.
It's got to be
by the Imagination Pavilion, maybe.
Living with the Land.
No, neither one of those. I feel like it's probably more over by. Gosh, I feel like Guardians kind of ruined that though with where it is.
What, that used to be kind of a quiet little section of the park.
Yeah, that's what I would say, unfortunately.
Yeah, I get that
area over like between Test Track and Mission Space and all that.
Yeah, I would say that's where it was, but unfortunately that's gone because they had put Guardians in. But I'll tell you, from all the people talking about Tron, I mean, and everyone saying that Guardians is better, I don't know. Maybe now I'll have to be a little bit more on board with Guardians, since the next ride was not as good.
I think they're just different. I mean, it's interesting to compare the two, though. But
yeah, I've seen all sorts of craziness. A lot of people complaining about the length of the ride, yet when like the ride length is timed, it's not any different than some of the other rides.
Some of the other stuff, yeah.
People were complaining about that a fair amount. I don't know. I just saw a lot of complaint crop up recently about Tron. Maybe it's because people are getting back to the parks because, school's almost over, the weather's out, and just, I'm not sure. But I don't
know what groups you're in because I haven't really seen any complaints.
I try to stay in groups that you're not in. It makes
is that what it is?
That way we can have a diverse set of understanding, right? Being in different groups. If we're all in the same groups, it wouldn't be fun.
Well, because most of the ones I've seen that people have seemed to really enjoy it. So I
think this was more of a comparison between Guardians and Tron, and people are more on the Guardian side than the Tron side. I don't think I'll get, not that I don't think, I know I'm not going to get to see Tron this go around because I'm just not going to go to Magic Kingdom. So that makes it difficult for me to even make a comparison, unfortunately.
Well, yeah.
The funny thing is I like how it's now that people are coming out with these things, because Tron has existed for so long, because it's the same ride that is in Shanghai, and it's not like people couldn't have analyzed this information before, because you can find ride throughs on YouTube. I just find it funny that people are now being like, oh, I don't like it because of, it's not long enough. It's like, but you already knew what the ride was.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just boggles my mind a little bit that people are.
Well, some people don't know it exists in Shanghai. I don't know.
You're right. I guess that's fair. I shouldn't assume that people are necessarily paying that close attention to it. But I guess to me, it's I feel like there's far less surprise behind Tron than there was behind Guardians, and that's just purely because of the fact that Tron was a known thing for years before it actually came to Magic Kingdom. Right?
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, and from what just Wikipedia says it's about 2 minutes long. I mean, that's pretty much.
Well, they're saying that's not the whole ride, though, right? That's the whole thing from loading to all that. But they're saying the actual ride itself of, from the launch to it being done before you go on the station is far shorter. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
We'll see when one of you guys goes on it. Like I said, I don't see myself being on Tron for a fairly long time because I just don't go to Magic Kingdom. And it's not something that is forcing me to go there. Like between that and Velociraptor, like I'm trying to go on that ride, right? Or whatever that thing's called. Like
Velocicoaster.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to go on.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm just saying, like, if it is around 2 minutes, like that's, fair. I mean, that's not all that short.
Sure. But again, like the ride from, beginning to launch, is that really part of the ride? I mean, some people would say no.
I don't know though. I mean, is that really, the number that they're using there? I don't know. They don't really say, but
I don't know. Somebody was saying it's less than a minute if you don't account for, the beginning and then again, I haven't been on it, but that's just what I've heard. And I'm just not, it's not something that's driving me to go there. I mean, Guardians wasn't either, so it's tough, but this one is definitely, and I think because kind of like what Trevor said, we've already seen it. Gosh, I would have liked something new. I'm going to be on board with Moana. I just hope Moana's good. The water feature thing. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking forward to.
Well, it's not even a ride though, so
no, it's still a feature though.
Yeah,
sure. It's still an experience, right? Like that's what you're looking for is just experiences at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So Justin asked if you had one day park. If you had a 1 day park day, how would you spend it? Well, we know what Damon's going to do because he has that scenario coming up.
I absolutely have that scenario, right? So I'm going to Epcot because where else would you actually even go? The only thing that would change my mind is if I had not been to like Star Wars Land or, Galaxy's Edge, or if I hadn't been to somewhere like that, then I might reconsider where I would go in a single day. But, for the, upcoming future, right? Because Moana is going to be at Epcot, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So again, like, where am I going? I'm going to Epcot.
Just staying at Epcot forever.
I'm just staying at Epcot. So we've actually, we're going to add on to our trip, it looks like, but not anything more at Disney. I think we're going to end up going to Universal for a day prior to going to Disney.
Yeah.
And it seems like we're going to be missing everyone at Disney because we're going for a pretty short time in June. Like, we're really only there for 3 nights at Disney, but we're going to go do, it seems like what's going to happen now is we're going to drive down, go to the Gaylord Palms, because again, it's just funny. If you ask my kids what their favorite hotel would be, you can have Disney, you can have Universal. They want to go to the Gaylord Palms. They love that place.
Oh, wow.
Better than, anything at Universal. Now, we've stayed at Universal more at the Royal Pacific than anywhere else. I think this time we're going to stay at Portofino just because even though I love the Royal Pacific, I feel like I got to do something different, and Hard Rock doesn't really move the meter for me, so we'll do that. But out of everywhere we've stayed at Disney, they still love the heck out of Gaylord Palms. So we're going to go there Saturday, stay there Saturday night, get up on Sunday, head over to Universal Hotel somewhere in the afternoon. So maybe we might hit City Walk, go to Universal, spend the night at Portofino, just so the next day we can get tickets to go to Universal for the day, right? Because that whole thing with getting the tickets and the express passes is well worth it at Universal for me, especially if we're only going to do a day. We're going to do Universal that day and then go to Disney and check in that night. So we won't stay at Universal past probably 5 or 6. And then nothing the next day, Epcot the day after, and then come home, I think. I think it's something along those lines.
When is this again? This is June, right?
It's June, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
gotcha. So coming up soon here.
Yeah. Again, we're only really going to hit Epcot. We'll see how that is. I don't think, gosh, I feel like the kids are going to talk me into stupid Lightning Lane for Guardians of the Galaxy, but we'll see. I feel like it's going to happen. I feel like it will happen.
Kind of seems like it.
And I'm not even mad about that. The more I think about the way that works, it's not necessarily a bad thing, because think about it. I'm going in June, so I would have been within my window already to have to get fast passes, right? And now it's like I can do that. I don't even have to think about that. I don't have to think about dealing with that until the morning of.
Yeah, you don't have to plan ahead anymore, really.
You don't have to plan ahead at all. And listen, honestly, I feel like at that point, if you want a Lightning Lane, I don't even think it's going to be all that hard.
It's so funny to me because go ahead. Sorry, Trevor.
I was going to say when we were there back in November, it wasn't that hard to get a Lightning Lane either.
I mean, if you're going to pay, they want your money.
Yeah. And it's, I know a lot of people love, ragging on the whole, you got to pay for this. Like you said, it's not bad. Like it's
worse for me than it is for you.
That's fair, but even factoring that in, because we've been talking about taking some of my son's friends with us on future trips, and so I would be paying for a group of kids like you, but at the end of the day, it's that whole convenience over time thing, right? And I guess I'm still in the mindset of I'm only at Disney so much, and if I can not spend my time in lines, or, if I can just do the things that I want to do. And this is also, knowing that I have the money in my budget that I can afford to do these things. It's not a bad thing. Like it honestly didn't hurt to get Lightning Lane when I was there in November. So
yeah.
I
was just going to say, I just saw another article about this today. It's, of people complaining that it's too complicated to go to Disney now. And I was like, I feel like they made it way less complicated by not having any pre-planning anymore, right? Like you still have to book dining reservations ahead of time, but kind of what Damon's saying, you don't have to do anything else ahead of time. You just do it the day of.
Now my parents are complaining about Space 8040, whatever that place is, right? So
220.
They want to go there so bad, and I'm so trying to talk them out of it. But
why are you trying to talk them out of it?
Because I think it's a waste of money.
No.
I think at the end of the day, when you're on a retired budget, I mean, what are they going to pay for 2 people? I just don't see it as
just have them do lunch instead of dinner. It's just it's much cheaper.
You can also eat at the bar too. You don't have to
do that too.
Book a reservation.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's worth it. I mean, we had a great time there, so
yeah, we enjoyed it too. And I guess I would say, it's definitely one of the more expensive places to sit down. it's a good experience at the end of the day. And if that's what your parents are looking for, like, I don't think it's a bad investment from that point of view.
Yeah. I agree.
So we'll see. But they have to book that, though.
Yeah, I mean, they just have to book a reservation, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see if that happens.
If that actually happens, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so if I had one park day, we'd probably do Magic Kingdom. So
I'm still at Magic Kingdom too. I'm kind of in between, I guess. I could easily do a day at Epcot, like you, Damon, or I could do a day at Magic Kingdom. I think, yeah.
See,
I still want to say Magic Kingdom. I feel like Magic Kingdom's still a good enough place where I could just spend a day and be happy and not have to like plan a whole week or anything.
Yeah, see, like to me, Magic Kingdom is like the essence of Disney, right? Like it's the atmosphere of Magic Kingdom, you know, the Dapper Dans, the music, the smells, it's just to me, it's like if you wanna get like a full Disney fix in one day, like the Magic Kingdom does that for me. That's just kind of how I view it, you know. So, but that's what a lot of people do, obviously. So, all right, so a lot of DVC news to get into.
Okay.
Which it's funny, we canceled our show the 1 week that there was like a ton of DVC news, but it is what it is, right? So it just was bad timing. So
the first thing on the list is DVC announces the cabins at Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort. So they're taking, is it some or all of the cabins? I actually don't know how many cabins are there, but they're taking 350 cabins at Fort Wilderness and turning them into DVC accommodations.
Yeah,
which
I think it's all of them. I mean, I don't know, but I could be wrong. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay,
what you were going to say?
So I guess that would mean like the campground's still the campground.
Yeah.
But if you want to stay in a cabin, you have to do it on DVC points. Is what it
kind of seems that way. Yeah, kind of seems that way.
Now, would you stay here?
You know, it's interesting. So I find this very interesting that they're doing this, right? Because this is theoretically, you know, you could almost call this their first moderate resort, right? Like they haven't really done this at a place like Fort Wilderness before. I like the idea of cabins. Like we've wanted to stay in a cabin before. I do think, by the way, that this means that the whole Reflections thing is just done. Like this is just what Reflections is now. You remember the Reflections resort?
Yeah, but this is not where Reflections is, though.
It's not far off, though. I mean, it was pretty close to where it was going to be.
Right. I would argue against that because they're doing the Poly and then the tower between Poly and Grand Floridian and then the Grand Floridian. So
yeah,
they could absolutely still do Reflections, but
no, they could.
That's my opinion.
They could. I just feel like. I don't know. I feel like this tells me that it's not going to be. By the way, I just looked it up. So they have 409 cabins on property. So it's not all of the cabins. There's still going to be like 60 cabins or so that will still be that you'll still be available to Fort Wilderness. So the existing cabin sites will be utilized with entirely new units. So basically, they're just going to remove the existing cabins and put new ones in, right? The interesting thing here is cabins will sleep 6 adults, include a private bedroom, bathroom, living room, full kitchen, patio, and some of the cabins will also be dog friendly, apparently too. Which, you know, if you're going to make a resort dog friendly, I mean, this is where you're going to do it, right? Like,
yeah,
it makes the most sense. But to your question of would I stay there, I'm going to go with a strong maybe. I'm not opposed to doing the whole cabin thing.
There's nothing strong about a maybe.
Fun. What's that?
There's nothing strong about a maybe.
It's a strong maybe. Like if I were like
that's a contradiction.
No, it's not a contradiction. I'm leaning towards a yes. Like I'm not like wishy-washy about it. I'm more leaning towards a yes.
Okay. I don't even want to argue the semantics of that. I'm just going to just pretend like I didn't hear it.
If we were on a scale where yes is like a 7, I'm like a 6.5. Like so okay. I don't know. But I this is interesting though too, because before this got announced, that it was announced that Trails End restaurant was going to be turned into like a quick service kind of place, and a lot of people didn't understand why. And I think this is the reason why, right? Like they're trying to have DVC like amenities available if they're going to have DVC units there.
Yeah. And I guess so that's where this is not working for me, because the thing that I like about staying at the resort that I stay at is that the amenities are all very close, like very easily within walking distance. And even, laundry is readily available, like in the three buildings, or like it's in Moorea, but it's very close. Everything is very convenient. And when I think about staying in a cabin, which I guess maybe this might be, I've stayed in cabins in Alberta, which, you're getting up and you're having to walk, like, it's not like, going to the bathroom and you got to walk like, 10 minutes to find an actual bathroom kind of thing. But, things like laundry, things like quick service, or just, that kind of stuff, not having it readily accessible, I feel that takes away from it. But I can also see where people would enjoy the privacy, or enjoy just, having a space to yourself where it's quiet and there's nobody else around. This doesn't feel like somewhere, though, that I would want to stay, even, and I assume the points will also be pretty steep for this if it's 6 people per cabin. Right. So, a lot of reasons why I like, it's great. Again, I'm glad that they do stuff like this, because, I know there's lots of people with different situations, and this works for somebody. It doesn't work for me.
No, listen, there are lots of people that will be very into this, right? Like,
yeah,
it's interesting too, because like, my mom, when she was going to Disney back in the 70s, they would stay at Fort Wilderness. My grandparents had a camper. They would drive the camper down from New Jersey, and that's where they would stay. I mean, they'd stay at Fort Wilderness. So like, in a weird way, like it makes me kind of want to stay there, just because when I was, when my mom was a kid, she used to stay there like that. But, and you got to get the golf cart, Trevor. You get the golf cart. That's how you get everywhere, and you take the golf cart to to all the amenities, But listen, this is not a place. I don't like camping. I've said this on the show before. I don't like camping in general. Right. So, like, if I were going to do
Tom
this,
can totally agree with. And camping is such a big thing in New Jersey too.
I know.
I just can't do it.
Hey, that we up here camping. It like everybody goes camping. I do not like it either. I'm right there with you guys. I don't like. I did enough of it when I was a kid to know that I don't want to go and stay at a campsite anymore. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Damon, are you out on these cabins too, or are you? Because I know you're going to do a Saratoga cabin, right?
A Saratoga what?
Weren't you going to do one of the cabins? One of the treehouse? Yeah.
Well, treehouse and a cabin. I mean, why do you think they're the same?
I don't think that they're the same. I'm just saying it's not all that different. You think they're that much? I mean, they're treehouse cabins. They're the treehouse cabins.
Yeah, but they're bigger.
Yeah, no, it's a different. It's a different kind of place.
They're in a different spot. So no, I'm not down for anything that has the word camping in it, or remotely in it, or adjacent to it, or anything along those lines.
Well, how do you feel about the dog friendly piece, though?
I mean, I guess that's good. The only thing I worry about ever bringing my dog anywhere was, if the dog gets lost when you're somewhere, what do you do? I feel like I'd have to permanently move there until I found the dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I worry about. So, like, I like it in theory, and I think for other people, it's great. I think if you're going to give people dog-friendly options, that's the option to give them.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I was surprised by this announcement. I really, I certainly did not see this coming. But, I think it's a good thing, and I think a lot of people are going to like it and buy into it. I do think it's interesting that they seem to continue to build new DVC accommodations when they have several resorts that are still on sale. That's kind of odd to me, but if that's what their strategy is right now, then that's cool. I mean, I think it's good that we all have options. So
I don't think they ever want to be in a point where they don't have multiple places on sale.
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah. I mean, I know when I bought, they were only actively selling Aulani and Grand Floridian at that time when I bought direct. Like it's weird to have so many options, because usually they have like one that they're selling, actively, and then Aulani, because Aulani will never sell out. So it is interesting to me that they're going to have like a lot of options, between Riviera and Grand Floridian and the new Poly and, the Tower. There's just a lot. There's just a lot that's going to be on sale. So.
Yeah, that's true, I guess. Yeah, because for me, it was Copper Creek, Poly, and Alani that were available when I bought in initially.
Yeah, exactly. Should we do the ad before we get into the Disneyland Hotel stuff?
Yeah, let's do that, and then we can come back to this. This week, our sponsor is Monera. Monera, a World of DVC company, is the industry leader for financing DVC resale contracts. Monera offers lending with the longest terms available at 12 years, the option of no credit check, instant approval, low down payments, and no prepayment penalties. If you're thinking of purchasing a DVC contract on the resale market, go check out their new quick online quote first. You may be surprised just how affordable joining DVC can be. Go to monerafinancial.com or call 317-245-8800. And when you speak to them, be sure to let them know that Welcome Home sent you. Or if you're doing it on the website, make sure you pick us in the dropdown.
Great. All right. So obviously the big news, I wanted to get the Fort Wilderness stuff out of the way before we got to the villas at Disneyland Hotel stuff. Right. So we now know that the sales will open on May 2nd for current members for the villas at Disneyland Hotel and May 30th for first time buyers. They have also announced the base price of $230 per point. That's before incentives. They might have some incentives. I'm assuming they probably will have some incentives. But the big thing that everyone's talking about is this transient occupancy tax. Right, Trevor? I think that's probably the big thing. So, and let me just explain it first and then we can kind of get into it, right? So essentially, there's basically this transient occupancy tax. It's basically a hotel tax, right? It's just like a regular hotel tax. But what's interesting is that the Grand Californian right now actually factors this into your points, right? It's part of your dues. But what they're going to do with the tower is a little bit different, where they're not going to include it in dues, and they're actually going to charge it to people when they stay there, right? So it's going to be a part of. It's part of so essentially it's based on $273 per point is what they're saying, right? So the taxes are based on the rate of $273 per point is what this says. Yeah. So it's interesting that they're doing it this way, because considering they do it differently for Grand Californian. But I also find it interesting, and Trevor, I'm excited. Interested to hear your opinion on this, because to me, reading this feels like a better solution to me than what they do at Grand California, because you're only paying it when you actually stay there, as opposed to paying for it always. You know what I mean? Like it's
So one thing to keep in mind with this is that the Grand Californian's transient tax is not the same as the DVC tower.
Yeah.
So the whole thing around the transient tax is that it's something that the city of Anaheim has implemented, and it's basically that because they're a heavy tourist town, they realize that the tourists coming in and out. The whole point of the transient tax is that it helps them keep their infrastructure up to date, or basically that anybody who stays at any hotel is help paying into the infrastructure of the city and all that. However, they sometimes like to, like any municipality, they will, try and get more than, or it's always perceived as them trying to get more than they necessarily should be, or what we think they should be. And in this particular case, whatever they negotiated, this is this year's transient tax, and I think they were very clear about saying, this is the agreed upon cost this year, because there's a good chance that as time goes on, this could change. And to your point, it's, I understand why DVC split it out, because that way, like you said, if you're not actively using your points at that resort, you're not just paying that tax, as part of your dues. It's it's whoever is staying there ultimately pays the tax, because the thing is that even if you don't own points there, if you decided to try and book try and book a room there, they would charge you the transient tax, which when you look at it, it basically, so at $273 per point, and looking at the point charts, because I think the lowest, or you can get the duo suites for, I think, as low as like 14 points a night or something like that. But then, but then going up to deluxe studios, they start at like 18 points. So you're talking, around the $40 mark per night to stay at this resort, which I guess I started looking at this, and this is where we'll, back to the question asked about would I stay at the DVC tower. The thing is that the point value, so it's still pretty steep for points, which we kind of knew, like it.
We kind of knew it was going to be high, right?
Yeah. When I say it's steep for points, I mean, when we bought in, it was, around the $150 mark. So $230 per point is definitely a lot higher. But then having the tax on top of that means every single stay you're paying more out of pocket, which and this is entirely a perception thing. I know there's lots of different ways to look at, but my personal perception on this is that it turns the concept of DVC from having, and I'm using air quotes, free rooms. And I know it's not free. I know, we pay dues and everything, but, having the, being able to just book a room and just have it there, and it feel like, year over year, you're kind of getting a free room. And eventually, it gets to a point where you are breaking even, or, not paying for your rooms. Right. The thing about this is that it turns it into, you're not getting a free room. It just feels like a discounted room.
Yeah.
Which I don't particularly like, because the whole thing about DVC was that, I don't have to worry about the cost of my hotel room, but now I do again, if I was to stay here. Now that doesn't mean that I'm like, no, I'm never going to stay at the Disneyland Hotel. I still do want to stay there, but, we've talked about it, or me and my wife have talked about it, and we both agreed that we were going to buy points, but when we started seeing the stuff about the transient tax and everything, that turned us off, and we are actually now waiting. We think we may actually just add on to our existing poly contract at this point.
Oh, interesting.
Because then what that does is that we're in the position where we have like non-resale DVC points, and then we have the points that our resale points were bought before the rules came in that you can't use them at the different resorts. So we have a bunch of points that we could use at the Disneyland Tower, booking at 7 months. And the thinking is, if we buy an extra, 50 points or whatever, it puts us in a position where we have enough points that we could do we're still going to Florida most of the time, but then like every other year, maybe we plan a trip to Disneyland, and also understanding that it's gonna, we have to pay that upfront cost. But I don't want to buy points there because of this extra hoop to jump through.
But I mean, even if you stay there on other points, you're still gonna have to pay that tax out of pocket, though, right?
True, but the thing is that it's when I decide to, versus if I bought a contract there, you feel then I'm in a position where I'm buying the contract there, but I'm using it in Florida all the time. So then it becomes like, well, why don't I just get another contract in Florida and then go there when I want to go there, kind of thing? Because I'm also basing this on the assumption that, it's a much larger DVC property, and the chances of getting, waitlisting and, potentially getting something at 7 months should be higher. Like I should be able to get something there versus, staying at the Grand California, which is pretty much impossible.
Yeah. I just look at it as regardless of whether you own there or not, you're going to have to pay this tax, right? Like if you stay there. So it's the same thing with Aulani too. Aulani actually does the same thing where they calculate this tax at the end of your stay, and then they, give you the fee, right? But
and that's why I didn't buy points at Aulani either.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's my thinking is that I don't want to lock my points in somewhere where it feels like it's a lot more difficult to use them. And then also on top of that, and we didn't get to this yet, is that the Disneyland Hotel has the same resale restrictions, which actually makes it a lot worse than the Riviera from a resale standpoint, because now like Riviera, getting a resale, it's like, well, you can only stay at the Riviera. People go, okay, fine. But then it's like, now you can only stay at the Disneyland Hotel, and every time you stay here, there is, you're guaranteed you're paying the transient tax, right?
Yeah.
So there was too many negatives around this for me to justify as, we were originally thinking we wanted to get 50 points there. The plan was, go every other year, and 50 points would be enough that we could do that reasonably. Looking at the times a year based on the point charts and all that. Like I said, we kind of switched gears, and I'm now looking at getting more poly points because I don't see the point in getting this particular hotel, unfortunately.
So if they would have included the transient tax in your dues like they do for Grand California, would that have changed the math for you? I mean,
yeah, like I said, it is entirely a perception thing. Is that I just, if it was rolled in and it was like, fine, dues are a little bit higher.
Sure. Yeah.
I could make that. I know it's mental gymnastics, and I know people listening to this may disagree with it, but it's a matter of, I don't want to feel like I'm being nickeled and dimed.
I get that.
Like, my dues come in at the end of the year. It's like, okay, this is the dues I pay to help, keep this place running. Fine. Like it's a one-time thing. It's not like they come back every other month. And right. And this is what that feels like, is it's like, I'm already paying dues. I'm already paying for the points. Oh, and you got to pay the tax. Right. So
no, I get that. It's definitely out of sight, out of mind kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas this is like literally as you're leaving it's almost like that parking fee, right? Where if we were being charged the overnight parking fee, which doesn't exist anymore, it's like, at the end of your stay, you're all of a sudden just like, have a couple $100 extra on your bill. It's like, wait, I thought I had this covered with DVC. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like it's that same kind of thing it's not that I expect everything to be free because I have DVC. I'm definitely not that entitled.
Yeah.
I feel like, the whole selling point of DVC is that, you get your room is at least sorted out. But with this particular property, the room is not sorted out because you always end up paying the tax. And I get, that wasn't Disney's choice. They had to make a decision because of the fact that Anaheim imposes this tax. I understand that, but it doesn't appeal to me personally.
I get that. I get that. I will say, I think, and they mentioned this in the article, is like one of the benefits of doing this is that it does reduce the annual dues because it's not included in that part. And it only because it shifts the responsibility onto people that are, staying at the resort. So it's as opposed to onto the owners of the contract. So I do think that that's a benefit. I don't know. For me, I actually, if I had been interested in buying here, to me, doing it this way, as opposed to including it in my dues, would actually appeal to me. And I would have actually been better with that than putting it in my dues. But I also see your perspective as well, Trevor. I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah. And yeah, that's fair. Like I said, it's not that I'm saying that the way that they're doing it is wrong. It's just,
it's just not what you want. Yeah.
From my point of view, I just don't, I kind of like having everything bundled, give me the total, I understand, everything needs to be itemized and all that, but tell me what I'm actually paying. Don't, and me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I get it.
Like that's kind of my thing.
Yeah, no, I get it. At least it's Disney. It's not Disney doing it this time, right? Like that's the good news.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, is there anything else you want to talk about with this?
No. Yeah, like I said, I think the next thing is, and maybe, I have to get the DVC resale app set up on my phone again, because I need to start looking for another contract that, I will buy resale. Maybe next time we have Derek and or Marissa on, I can buy it when they're on the show, like I did last time.
we are going to have somebody on next week, so I didn't even talk to you guys about this yet, but
okay, no,
we'll have somebody on next week to give us some more insight about Disneyland, the Disneyland Tower. So,
good,
yeah. I didn't want to do it this week because I figured we were gone for a week, so this episode might end up a little bit overstuffed, and I didn't want to add to that. So,
we're kind of off this week. And actually, speaking of being off this week, I know we had the random ride on here.
I was just going to say we should get rid of the random ride this week.
Which I actually spun the wheel while we were talking here. So I do have a ride picked.
What the heck?
But it's up to you guys if you want to actually
type it in chat. I want to see what it is first.
Okay.
Wait, so you're gonna, once you see what it is, you're gonna decide whether you want to do it or not?
Absolutely.
Oh man, that's a tough one to go by.
Oh yeah, I think we gotta hold it. I hate to say it.
Okay. Yeah, I think we do too. That's too much of a conversation.
All right. Well, this is something for our listeners to speculate on. So the wheel has been spun, but you will all find out next week.
But we didn't hear it spinning though. What happened?
Dude, I don't need to hear
I did it on mute.
If I never hear the fake wheel spin again, I'd be happy.
Can I get a better wheel spin sound for you? Or is it just
unless you're making a wheel and spinning a real wheel? No. If you want to spin a real wheel, absolutely all day, every day.
I vote for the big wheel from Price is Right.
What I see? Yeah. So you're saying like the boop, 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 like that kind of sound?
I don't even need that. Sure. Like, could Tom make a wheel?
Yeah. I mean, I could get a wheel, but it feels unnecessary, and then I have to store it.
Oh, it's never unnecessary. It would definitely be necessary for sure.
Can I make it like really tiny though? Like, can it be really small so I don't have to store it somewhere?
Is it going to make enough clicking noise if it's small?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Those little wheels still clicking.
Yeah. Yeah,
if it has our logo on it. Yeah, absolutely.
It's get a little mini spinning wheel.
I like really cool.
Yeah, I like the idea of having an actual wheel. That would be nice.
We'll see what we can make happen here.
Yeah.
I mean, don't we have shirts too? I feel like we have shirts. We could use the shirt thing for the wheel. Speaking of shirts, when are we selling shirts?
Oh yeah,
we're always
the
selling
new
shirts.
The new shirt.
Yeah, when are we selling new shirts?
I don't think I have the final art that was completed.
Everybody, this is just what I'm going to say. I feel like I'm at work sometimes. I send Tom messages. He doesn't respond to them and then comes on the show like this. I remember I sent you a message that said, I have no room on my Google Drive. Please create me a folder and I'd be more than happy to upload it. And then Tom just ghosts me.
I was also sick for 2 weeks.
I was going to say
prior to that.
I would cut Tom some slack
prior to him being sick, unless he was like on the verge of being sick and his body was already shutting down, so he just couldn't think.
I do remember that message. I think I was. I don't think I was in a place to do it. But
if you create me a spot, I'll be more than happy to send it to you.
Okay, and then we can start selling.
I feel like the show should just fund me up a Google Drive account. I feel like at this point
we have Google Drive through the show.
Yeah,
so I don't remember what the password is for that.
Oh, okay. Well, that's the problem. There's the problem. Okay,
share me a spot and we'll share it out. But anyway, we do have new shirts. We're literally sitting on them, looking at them, being happy about them.
This is Damon's pet projects, by the way. This is
all the shirts are always my pet projects, I feel.
But this is also one you've wanted to do for like a long time. So
the design was specifically,
That's funny because I would think probably the exact opposite. I felt like this is something that like the people wanted.
Oh, okay. So you're just saying it's not you. It's people wanted it.
I feel like the people wanted it. I'm more than happy to oblige, in that manner. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't necessarily personally pressing it. I feel like the first one was the one I was personally pressing.
I thought we were going to make buttons out of these.
Making buttons?
Yeah, actual buttons.
We can do that too.
All right.
I guess that's possible.
Yeah. Why can't we make some buttons?
Hey man, we can do everything that we want.
All right. We'll start doing that.
Us do, because you know what? I'd love a backpack. I think Trevor would too, but here we sit, backpackless. We're like the, Bizarro Dora, I feel like.
What? Okay, but we have backpacks in the store that you could get now. You just want like an embroidered one, and that's a whole.
I want like a real backpack
beast.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the embroidered one is a lot more work than the ones that we have on the store. So
absolutely.
Okay. Well, we'll make it happen at some point here. I will free up some time to get this done.
Let's get back on track.
What's back on track though?
I meant we kind of had the week. We had the.
Oh, I see what you're saying. We got to let Tom recover. We got to let the show get out there. Where are we on this list? I kind of zoned out once you started Disneyland.
Pickleball courts.
Oh, pickleball. Listen, I'm going to go back in time and say that like this is bad. This is really bad, actually. Because
I thought you were Mr. Pickleball, though. What happened
I was until I've given up on pickleball. So I'm gonna go start now bashing. I'm a pickleball basher. I'm gonna go from one aspect to the other.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Doesn't this just reemphasize what you're saying about Disney's always late to everything?
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Yeah. Wait, pickleball's already over? I don't feel like
I don't think pickleball is over. But I think that the problem that I'm starting to have with pickleball is like, dude, it's really boring. Like, it's boring. Like, I liked it for a while, and then it just got stale, and I have no interest in it. I haven't been to play pickleball in a long time, and I think this is part of the problem with pickleball courts taking over tennis courts, but that's okay. I don't think there even should be recreational tennis courts. I just feel like this is one of those things where if I'm on vacation, I don't necessarily know, unless I was listen, I really enjoyed it when we were at, Hilton had tennis. Which one was the one that has the place across the street?
That was Vero.
Oh, yeah, where we almost got bobcatted. Yeah, okay. So that was nice because there's not a lot to do there, and it was nice to have tennis. But they only have 2 tennis courts. If they do they have 2? Yeah, I feel like if they turn one of those into pickleball courts, it's just going to get overrun.
Well,
I'm not sure about this.
So I should say what we're talking about here.
Yep.
So Disney has taken several of their tennis courts. And it doesn't say that they turned them into. It says it's available at several of their tennis courts. But
yeah, that's like the worst pickleball when they use the tennis net and then just like put the lines out there. I hope that's not the case.
Kind of seems like what they did. So at Yacht Club, Bay Lake Tower, Kidani Village, and Old Key West, they've added pickleball, and they will offer complimentary equipment for players as well.
I mean, I guess for like the non-jockos, that's not a bad idea because it does allow you to have tennis and pickleball. But for the jockos, they are not going to respect the tennis net to play with. I played recently, and the only reason I played it was my son, his girlfriend, and my daughter. We all played, and she's like, "Oh, you want to play pickleball?" I said, "Yeah, sure." And then we roll up to the court, and it's like, "Oh, this is just a tennis court with some lines on it." But okay, like it was fun enough.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It seems like that's what they did.
I don't see myself doing this. But then again, I think as I get older, maybe there's more vacations where I'm not doing the parks, but I still don't know if I want to play pickleball. I don't know. I'm a little like off pickleball right now. I mean, maybe it will pick back up. Maybe in the summer I'll decide to play once my son's home. We'll go play a few times, but I'm just kind of out for now.
What were we going to say, Trevor, before sorry.
I mean, I was going to say, I think, I guess my take on it is, if it's something that's available, great. I wouldn't be quite so picky about, like, I get that they're trying to dual purpose a tennis court into a pickleball court, like, because they don't, they don't want to go and construct a whole bunch of new space for this kind of thing. So
absolutely.
I don't know. Like I said, I appreciate that they're trying to make these things available, and like you, like I guess when I'm on vacation, it's kind of the last thing on my list to like. It
harkens back to what I would say about like when my wife wants to go somewhere and do nothing, right? Like I can play pickleball at home.
Yeah.
A pickleball court is a pickleball court, right? Like even with Disney paddles, I got, smacking Mickey's nose into a, pickleball. Like it doesn't change what it is, which is pickleball, which I can play anywhere. I don't need to play at Disney. Like I'm on a vacation from what my regular life is like.
Trevor, is pickleball thing in Canada too, or is this just a?
Oh no, it's made its way up here too. We actually had the same thing happen where we have I'm in a what's called a lake community. So we have a lake and a bunch of like they've got basketball courts and tennis and all that kind of stuff. And they've done the same thing where they've turned the tennis courts into also pickleball courts because it's popular. So,
yeah. I mean, I know.
So it's the same thing. Like I can walk 10 minutes and go play pickleball. I don't need to go to Disney to do it.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, I know in my area that there's a couple places opening that are like pickleball specific places.
Yes,
like
there's a few
where
of
they
them
have like
too.
bars and food and then, like 8 pickleball courts and they do like tournaments and stuff. You know what I'm talking about, Damon? Like that's becoming a thing.
We have similar stuff. I just, like I said, for me, like, and listen, it's not like I'm going there and whipping all these people, which is why I don't want to play anymore. It's just, I had this discussion with my friend. Here's my biggest problem with pickleball. If I win, I leave the court. If I lose, I leave the court.
So either way, you're leaving the court. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe a tournament is way different. But again, like if I win, I'm still leaving the court. Like if I lose, I'm still leaving the court. So like, what's the incentive for me to win?
Gotcha. So it's not like if you win, you continue playing or something like that?
Absolutely.
There's no King of the Hill rules?
No, there's not. So, and that's the biggest problem that I have. Like, I think I would like it a lot more if there was, again, at basketball, you lose, you're off the court. Like, see you later. You might not play for a while. But this is just like, they made it accessible for everybody, and then they tried to make it competitive. Well, which one is it?
Is it accessible for everybody or is it competitive? Yeah. I get it. I get what you're saying. I still have yet to play pickleball. I would like to.
Tom, feel free to come to the Raleigh area and we can play pickleball.
We can play some pickleball?
Anytime you want.
All right. So is the net actually supposed to be different than the tennis net, Damon? Because it sounds like you're saying it is.
It is.
Okay,
Yep.
It's a different kind of net.
It's a different kind of net, correct.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I just remember, in college I used to play like badminton a lot,
I mean, that's way better. So,
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, it would be, I don't know, man. Like, yeah, I don't know.
You're just over pickleball. You're done with pickleball.
For right now, yeah, I mean, it's a different height when it's a tennis net. It's higher. So like, again, like if you're catering to just the people that play it for fun and don't need to practice while they're on vacation, then all right, fine. But then again, I would ask the same question. I mean, if I can do this at home, why am I doing it there?
Yeah, but I mean, like if you're just doing a resort only day, like what else are you going to do? Like, that's not something you want to do.
So that's where it's just entertainment. It's not competitive or anything.
But if I'm going to be doing so again, if I'm doing a resort, which I am, like I'm not doing something I can do at home. I don't feel like.
Yeah.
Like the whole point is let me do something else because
it's true.
Why do I want to do something I'm doing at home? I don't know. That's just the way I feel.
Yeah, I get you there. We're the same way. Like we actually, coincidentally, we're going out of town next week, and we're not going anywhere. Like it's like an hour drive away. But we're already like asking ourselves, like, what are we going to do out there? Because, it's the same thing. I could go eat at, Burger King for like they have Burger King out there. But would I really want to go eat at Burger King, or would I rather go and find like, a restaurant that's unique to that area, or, something that I can't find in the city? It's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I get what you're saying.
All right. Well, just a couple more things here. So, Disney shared
a preview. Go on and on about this Hatbox Ghost, aren't you?
Probably not.
No, I've already seen the Hatbox Ghost. You guys are behind on this. So.
Yeah, and I don't care that much about it. I don't even think I went to Haunted Mansion last time I was there.
Really?
Nope.
What?
I'm sorry.
You don't like Haunted Mansion? I
like it, but I mean, how much can I like it?
A lot.
No, I definitely don't like it a lot.
It's worth a ride.
Yeah,
every time.
Come on, it's one of the best. I love Haunted Mansion.
Oh yeah. I'm looking forward to it whenever it does arrive in Florida. But yeah, I've already seen it, so yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting that they posted a preview of this though. Like, I mean, they really could have just recorded the Disneyland version and then just threw it out there. Like, this is probably not even the one that they're putting in the Magic Kingdom version, right? Like, I mean, they just put out a video of it.
Yeah, I mean, it looks the same as the one in Disneyland. I couldn't tell the difference. So.
I can't imagine it's going to be any different, right? Like, it's going to be the same. I mean, so they're just previewing it. They're saying it's going to materialize this year.
It's hype building, right?
Yeah, it's what they do, right?
Yeah,
that's always what they do. And so they did like this halfway to Halloween thing, because why not? I feel like they always do it, right? But I really didn't put a lot of that stuff into this, but they did announce that Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party's coming back starting August 11th, which I don't know if it's getting earlier every year.
You know the way I feel about that.
But what's that, Damon?
You said the way I feel about that. I hate that. That's so ridiculous.
So early.
So I will say this though, because I actually
there's nothing you can say, Trevor.
Well, no. So here's the take that I kind of liked about it is that like those first couple of days or whatever is going to be all the like YouTube vloggers and stuff going to the Halloween party so they can post it, which keeps them out of like the rest of the time that people actually want to go. So
it doesn't keep them out, Trevor. I mean, that's wishful thinking. I wish that was the case.
Well, there's usually a gap. Like they go at the beginning and then they go closer to Halloween. They're usually not there. Like I don't ever see that like post where they're like in the middle of September posting about going to Mickey's Not So Scary. So maybe. I guess the way I look at it is, let all the media type people get their fix in August so that everyone else can go when it's actually getting close to Halloween season. That's my take on it.
Yeah. So it starts August 11th. There's 6 dates in August, and then significantly more dates in September, and then even more dates in October, of course. And then November 1st, which almost feels like August 11th to me, because I'm just like, Halloween's now over. Why am I going to go to the party after Halloween?
Like, so a lot of the haunted places around here do something where like after Halloween's over, then they do special ones where like the no light ones or something like that. And that would be fine. Like if Disney did something special after Halloween, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get that, but it's going to be the same. I mean, it's just,
no,
the problem is that cuts into the time for them to transition to the Christmas stuff.
Christmas, yes, which they can't do. Totally understand.
Yeah. So it's basically like every other night. Well, it's not every night. It's in October.
It's like 3 nights a week or something.
Yeah, it's 1st, 3rd, 5th, 6th, 9th, 10th, 12th, 13th, 15th, 17th, 20, 19, 20. You get the idea. So those tickets, by the way, go on sale on April 27th. So if you're listening to, it's already on sale for people that are staying on property. Everyone else not staying on property, they go on sale May 2nd. So if you're listening to this, they'll go on sale tomorrow, I guess, if you're listening the first day. So
I don't think anyone listens the first day anymore.
I don't think that's true.
Definitely gone down.
We get people saying that they're listening to us the day it comes out.
Yeah, it seems that the majority of people said that they listen right when it comes out. No?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I just wish more people would post in the group, dude. I'm not posting in the group because no one posts in the group. So now the group's just dead. It's dead to me. There's no one in the group anymore.
No one posts in the group anymore?
Not really.
No, there's still posts in there, but yeah, you're right. It's down a little bit right now.
Yeah.
I've been big on Discord more than anything these last couple weeks, I guess. So you can find me on Discord.
All right. Well, more people post in the group and get Damon back involved in the group.
I would love that.
So just 2 more things here. So, there's May the 4th, of course, is coming up. So they're going to have some special food for May the 4th, of course. But, I always, by the way, I always like the whole churro holders that, look like lightsabers. Like, I know they do it. They've been doing it every year for like a while now, but I do find it funny.
I think that's a great thing. I would agree with that. I didn't look at this food though. Is it anything good?
I gotta say that they've got the little chocolate Darth Vader head. So like one of the first pictures.
Yeah.
It does not look threatening at all. Like it feels like a cute version of Darth Vader, especially the way they've got it positioned in the cup. Is it's like, I don't know. It doesn't look right.
So here's the thing, right? So there is that new show coming, which again, I'm doing an interview, which is really the only reason I know about this show. You saw that new show that's coming. So it's the High Republic era. It's for toddlers pretty much. And it's about young Jedi.
No,
No?
I haven't seen that. No.
Yeah, I heard about it. Yeah,
I think that, again, this is something that just kind of starts to bother me in general. Like, I get Disney marketing is out to make money. I understand it's a company. I understand why they're doing what they're doing. But do we really need toddlers involved in Star Wars? And look, I guess maybe from the aspect of going to the park and seeing Galaxy's Edge, they do. But do I? Right? Like, do I need it's younger Yoda, right? Like, there's a younger Yoda, and he's kind of the tie-in to the rest of the universe, like with little kids with lightsabers doing Jedi stuff. I just don't think I need that.
Yeah, I think that's kind of cool.
For who?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I want to just go back to the Darth Vader chocolate. Just the fact that it's called Darth by chocolate.
I think, though, that everything is getting less scary and more inclusive so that they can make more money.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. I think it's just maybe Darth Vader doesn't show up very well in a chocolate mold, but
it could be that too.
Yeah, but I do love that it's called Darth by chocolate. I think that's kind of hilarious. And I'm always here for a parfait. So,
I'm always there for a parfait, but like, I don't ever want to pay for a parfait because I feel like it's not cost effective or worth it.
Yeah. All right. I get that. That makes sense. I feel like these, this Docking Bay 7 food, like, is, not something I would be into, but, what is this? Temple root leaf with moss salad with seasoned guayo eggs.
Looks like colored eggs and some salad.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, there's mushrooms and fried potato. Yeah, this is just not for me. None of this is for me. I like a salad, but none of that's for me.
I would try it.
I mean,
me.
Yeah, I'm looking at this too, and I'm just not. There's nothing really here that. I don't know. I don't think there's anything.
Trying to figure out what these Princess Leia cinnamon buns are actually called.
Oh, you're like way down there. I'm still all
everything's
the way up.
bad. We got to keep on going further down.
Okay, so it's like the Grogu stuff, like
that's all stuff, not even food.
Cake pops and then Wookiee cookies.
Muffin. Like looking at this green muffin thing. You're all the way down, like further down.
Yeah, I mean the muffin looks like, dude, it looks like a grocery store muffin.
It's
not even like big and puffy or anything. Like, it looks like it's minuscule.
Yeah,
you're right. It's that, like, somebody in the bakery made an attempt at something and it didn't quite work out, but they put it out anyway.
It's just kind of weird though, because like usually they don't present the stuff like that like this. You know what I mean? Usually it's like got the fancy wrapper on it, and then it's got all sorts of stuff on the top of it, and like this, like you said, it just looks like a basic muffin,
jelly fruit basic muffin.
But it's passion fruit buttermilk muffin with pineapple and blackberry jam. That's a weird muffin.
Oh, now
so what's
hold on a second. Yeah, I don't know. I'm down at the bottom too, because there is something down there that's very interesting.
What are you seeing?
I'm seeing the swirls on the water.
Okay, yeah, that's the place where you can get like Dole Whip over at Disney Springs.
Dole Whip mango swirled with habanero soft serve.
Oh yeah, interesting. Chocolate rocks and a BB-8 edible garnish. And graham cracker crumbs.
Yeah,
that sounds interesting. I mean, I guess
sounds
if you're
different.
Into spicy, right? If you're into spicy, yeah.
I'm not. It just seems different. I like different.
What about this? What about this orb sipper that they have going on over at Ronto Roasters? Because that thing's pretty cool looking as far as sippers go.
I don't waste my money on
orb
sippers.
Thing?
Yeah,
I feel the presentation of it here is better than it will actually be.
You think so?
Yeah, because this is making it look like it's like glass and metal, almost.
Which we know it's plastic. Yeah, we know.
I feel like when you get the actual plastic thing in your hand, you will feel differently about it.
That's fair. I just think it looks cool, but I understand your feeling on this too. By the way, I've had the Wookiee cookie before that they're advertising here from Backlog Express, and it is gigantic and it is delicious. So just want to throw that out there for anybody that would.
It looks like there's two different versions of the Wookiee cookie this year.
Where's the other one?
One of them.
One with sprinkles. Yeah. I see what you're talking about. Yeah, that's over in Disneyland though. The one with sprinkles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I like the Wookiee cookie is really good. It's literally an oatmeal cream pie basically. It's oatmeal cookies with vanilla filling. It's
yeah,
really
that's
good.
not my thing. It's like a Little Debbie's, which
Yeah, but it's like a homemade Little Debbie's. It's not like
yeah. But I don't like Little Debbie's in general, so I'm not really.
This Darth Vader cupcake looks more intimidating than the parfait, though.
It does.
Maybe it's just the red. Is it just the red lighting that they used in the picture? Is that?
It helps for sure.
Yeah, that helps. It looks more intimidating.
The cup one, it looks like he's like, it's like those commercials they did where it was like Darth Vader walking around Disneyland. Like it almost feels like it's like you caught Darth Vader like sitting in a sauna or something like that.
Oh, it's like the shirts that you see sometimes with like Darth Vader and like stormtroopers like riding rides at Disney, and it says like best day ever or whatever. Have you ever seen those shirts? Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, because that's based on a commercial that they did years ago. So that's what the first one feels like to me, is that it's that non-intimidating Darth Vader.
The second one looks like a lot more intimidating, though, I will say.
Yeah.
I will say. So, okay. Any other ones on here? This Darth Maul thing looks pretty cool. I'll say that. It just looks cool. I don't know if it's
it's a nice. It definitely looks like Darth Maul, but I mean, those dome cakes are, I don't know. I feel like they're kind of getting overdone a lot.
The dome cakes?
Yeah.
They definitely are a popular option. Yeah, I'm trying to see anything else. I think that covers it all, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, one last thing. I just felt like we had to talk about this because this was like a big thing that happened, pretty much a couple days ago at this point. Maybe it was like a week ago.
It was last week, but yeah, we're not allowed to have dragons.
Yeah. Yeah, dragons are not allowed anymore. So I saw this news popping up all over the place, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. So, I mean, I'm sure everybody saw this at this point, but the Maleficent dragon over at Disneyland during Fantasmic basically caught on fire and completely burnt. Basically, the entire thing burnt down. Yeah, which is really sad, actually. Really disappointing.
It is, and the thing to keep in mind. The Disney World version of Maleficent is just like the wings and the head. This is actually like the full body, like it's a full. It's
like a full animatronic, basically. Yeah.
So yeah, it's unfortunate that happened, and the good thing is that where it's positioned, or it's on Tom Sawyer's Island, which I know sounds crazy to people that haven't been to Disneyland, but it makes sense. So because it was, it's obviously very separated from everything else. Obviously they had to get the cast members evacuated, but it's kind of self-contained to just where it was on Tom Sawyer's Island. And I don't know if you saw, the side effect of this was that the Maleficent float in the parade is no longer going to be spitting fire for the foreseeable future either.
Yeah,
because it sounds like
they shut down all fire effects, is what they said.
Yeah, because it's obviously they all use similar methods for doing it, and it sounds like they're having to review systems and look at safety and all that kind of stuff, which is unfortunate because, I think a lot of people, everyone loves seeing fire as long as it's controlled fire. Yeah. Not this kind of fire.
I feel like they did kind of a similar thing after the other Maleficent, caught on fire. The one in the Festival of Fantasy Parade. Like when that one caught on fire, I think they did the same thing where they suspended all the fire effects while they reviewed everything. I mean, listen, I think they're going to bring the fire effects back, right? It's not like,
oh yeah, but
it's not like they're done. It's just they're doing a review.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it's a matter of, they got to make sure that because it's not just like, is the system working, but it's also, obviously there's materials around the system. Like in this case, it's, hey, there's this giant animatronic. They need to look at the materials that make it, because, something, even though it's not necessarily near the mouth, you get fire that lands in the wrong spot. And, like you saw in the video, it goes up very quick, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's if you haven't seen the video, go out and seek some video. I mean, there's a bunch of videos out there, but it's pretty crazy what happens. And unfortunately, the entire thing got destroyed. Although I did see that it looks like they're going to start doing the show again. They're just going to do it in B mode, where they're going to have just like a water screen with Maleficent on it, which obviously not as good, right? Like Maleficent's a big part of the show, right? It's like one of the main attractions of the show. So to have that missing really stinks, but at least you'll still have the show.
And there's still a pirate ship in the Disneyland show, so they've still got that going for them.
Yeah. There you go. They still got there's still other things, right?
Yeah.
But I know this is old news at this point. I just felt like we could not bring it up, right? Like it's a pretty big thing that happened.
It is, yeah. And hopefully it's a quick turnaround because, like I said, everyone likes fire effects, but yeah.
Well, and hopefully
no dragons for us.
Hopefully they can rebuild the Maleficent. It's going to take a long time, though. I mean, like I wouldn't expect to see that figure back for quite a while.
Oh yeah, I mean, think about when the float caught fire, right?
Oh yeah,
that was gone for about a year, wasn't it?
And I forget how long it was gone, but I mean, and that didn't even burn completely, right? Like it caught on fire, but it still survived the fire. Like this didn't survive the fire at all. It completely burned to a crisp. So they basically have to rebuild it from scratch, which they didn't have to do with the float.
I feel past a certain point when things are burnt, it doesn't matter. Like,
yeah.
Because I think even with the Maleficent float, I think that, there was still an equal amount of work that had to go into it. That it's not just like rebuilding the head and saying, okay, we're good. Like, because the system is bigger than the head, right? So,
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think they rebuilt it from scratch, but yeah, to your point, they probably had to replace a lot more. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go ahead and wrap up unless there's anything else you guys want to talk about. Trevor or Damon, either one of you?
No, I'm good.
All right. Let's wrap it up, Trevor.
All right. As usual, if you guys want to reach out to us, you can always find us at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. We love getting emails from you guys, just things like questions, your own trip reports or, anything like that. We love just interacting with you guys. If you want to follow us on social media, you can find us on Facebook as Welcome Home Podcast, YouTube also as Welcome Home Podcast, and Instagram as Welcome Home Pics. And if you are on Facebook, as we said earlier, we have our Facebook group, Welcome Home Disney Waitlist. We would love to see you in there. We got a lot of good people in there. There is still lots of conversation that goes on in there, even though I know Damon says he's not posting there as much, but I still do see, people post the memes in there and all that kind of stuff. And it's just a good place to talk with other Disney fans and fans of the podcast. So, come join us if you're interested in having a conversation. If you want to help support the show, you can go to store.welcomehomepodcast.com and check out our different merchandise. There is shirts and mugs and all kinds of good stuff on there that it just helps us continue to produce the show. And then alternately, we also have a Patreon, which you can go to patreon.com/welcomehomepod and check out our exclusive Patreon support levels that have merch that you can't get on the store. And for all of our Patreon supporters, they also get access to the Discord server, which is yet another place that we enjoy having conversations with our listeners. So if that's more your speed, consider having a look at Patreon. And as usual, if you are listening on iTunes or Spotify, please leave us a 5-star review. It does help more people find the show. And specifically on iTunes, you can leave us a written review, which we do try to read them. So, you may get your review posted on the show if that sounds like something you want to do. But we also love hearing your feedback on there too. I don't know if we had any new ones this week, Tom.
No reviews this week. No, yeah. no new reviews. Everyone's on
reviews. No 1-star reviews.
We don't want those, Damon. We don't know. No,
I secretly do, but yeah, okay.
It's not so secret.
Yeah,
it's not a secret.
Fun. I wish they were funny, and then 5 stars would be the best. But if they can't be that, then
I mean, they can be if you want.
I wish they could be, but they're usually not.
We've had some really funny 5-star reviews.
That's true.
But yeah,
it's too bad that the star rating messes up the whole algorithm thing, because it would be like, you could almost do like if you like Tom, rate 5. If you like Damon, rate 1.
yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be great. That'd be really helpful.
Well, remember when YouTube was like, you could get super popular YouTube videos. It was only based on interaction. So like a dislike was just as good as a like.
it didn't matter which it was, as long as
it didn't matter which it was. It was just based on
yeah.
interaction. So people would post. That's how actually those, those commentary videos that people post all the time now. That's how they first started. And it would be like somebody would get on and post a commentary video, and people would be like, "Oh, this is so stupid," and they, dislike, and then it's got 2 million views.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because it's
exactly
views are views.
Yeah, yep, that's right.
Yep.
Well, also don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, just about any podcast app out there. You can find us, just search for Welcome Home and look for the one, that's obviously Disney. So
there's more Welcome Homes now too.
Are there really more?
Yeah, there's more. Yeah,
I will say we're consistently showing up, in the top of that now. If you search for Welcome Home, so.
But remember that your Google search is dependent on you, right?
Well, listen, I've searched it in other places, but yeah, sure. I'm not talking about Google search. I'm talking about searching on services on Spotify, gotcha. Or searching on the.
I still want what was her name, Kristen, and what's her name? Are they ever bringing back their Welcome Home podcast?
Are they still even doing it? I don't think.
No, they're not. But they're still up there and out there. Whatever happened? Look, we outlasted the other Welcome Home. We didn't have to beat them. We just had to outlast them.
That's right. Yeah.
There can only be one.
Yeah. Exactly. Highlander's coming back. Highlander is coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Just a reminder to our listeners, Welcome Home Podcast is for entertainment only. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company, and as such, all opinions we express on the show are our own. So please consult a DVC representative or Disney cast member for more information about anything we talked about today. Huge thank you to our sponsor, Monero Financial, for sponsoring this episode, and of course, World of DVC for continuing to support the show.
And they're good hats.
Yeah, and they're good hats, because Damon finally got hats.
Yeah.
So, join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion, of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Do a huddle when we hit a chair. How she can cuddle is no man's affair. I looked around from pole to pole, found her in a sugar bowl.